Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Assemble. My name is High Ruler, and today I'm bringing you guys another Realm video, but it's not going to be a character breakdown. Instead, I'm going to be talking a little bit about gear, monetization, and why this new offer that came out yesterday, but today at time of recording, is absolute garbage. So if you guys don't know, if you guys don't play Realm, they put out an offer that says, need more space for gear, get inventory expansions. Now it starts off saying, greeting summoner, increase the inventory capacity for each of your champions with inventory expansion items and limited time offers in the store. Increased inventory space means you'll be able to hold on to more of the gear that you need to be prepared for any challenge, as well as manage your inventory less often. You'll find these champion specific items in the inventory tab of the store at limited quantities and at an escalating cost. Additionally, offers will be made available to add 5 more spaces to your inventory for each champion. These offers will only be obtainable once and will be available on rotation throughout the week. Head over to the store now. All right, let's get into it. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to learn a little bit more about gear itself. We're going to pop over to the newcomer guide to Marvel Realm of Champions, and we're going to talk about gear, and then we're going to talk about why that is problematic and why everything to do with this just screams mobile game itis. All right, so let's pop over to the newcomer guide. Okay, so now that we're here on the newcomer guide, obviously let's give a shout out to Vero for putting this together. This is a complete newcomer guide. I'll link this down in the description below. But what we really want to focus on is we want to focus on gear. So let's start off with saying at the top here, gear is the main way to improve your character and can drastically change your survivability, damage, and ability effectiveness. It is also a major part of the progression system, as the goal of getting stronger directly correlates with gaining battle rating and thus getting higher tier from crystals, crates, and other sources. So it's twofold, right? Obviously, the more you play, the better you get. You can have access to better gear, right? So obviously, it's not simply just kind of like pay to get the best gear and then equip the best gear and then you're going to run the table, right? You do actually have to have a bit of skill involved to get to the part where you can get the better gear. But there's still an issue with this, but let's keep going. So gear split into rarities, which are common, uncommon, rare, and epic. More rarities planned but not currently available as of right in this guide. So obviously, for anyone who's familiar, they have common gear, which is gray. Gray will appear most often, as participating in many game modes will provide a chance at some. Most of the time, you'll scrap this tier immediately. However, some higher tier common weapons can have a high base power level, which may mean you want to use it over a rare, which might have a lower power level and stats that don't benefit your playstyle. Then you have uncommon gear, which is green. Is mostly found through gear crystals and uncommon gear crystals earned through daily and weekly milestones. You can also find them in battle rating milestones for earning a specific amount for a single character or as part of a special event. As an alternative, they are the most common drop from crates in the store at every tier. There is no chance of finding an uncommon or higher through the rewards for winning/losing a game mode. Rare gear, blue, starts to appear at the recruit tier, which is 80 battle rating, and has a small chance from any gear or uncommon gear crystal. Reaching 300 battle rating will also grant a guaranteed recruit tier rare for that character as part of the battle rating milestones. Crates will also now have a chance to give rares for that character. Reaching warrior tier will increase the chance you get rare gear from gear crystals and uncommon gear from the dailies if it rolls for that character. There are also guaranteed rare crystals from completing 40 daily missions in a week, and also part of the login calendar. These rares will be guaranteed warrior tier, even if you haven't reached that tier yet. Unless stated otherwise, crystals will give gear for the tier you are at. Tap on the crystals to see what kind of gear they give, right? Then we have epic gear, which epic gear starts to appear at defender tier, which is 750 battle rating, and has a small chance from any gear crystal or uncommon gear crystal. The chance for a rare is further increased, which applies to gear crystals, uncommon gear crystals, and also crates. Reaching the highest battle rating milestone grants up to 2 guaranteed defender tier rares with a chance at an epic for each. So let's kind of talk about a little bit more of gear, and we'll really start to dive in on why adding inventory slots for a paid, like as a paid thing in a game that really has gear is really bad. So obviously, when you look at this image right here, you see gear has ratings, right? You go from the gray, which is the weakest, the purple is the highest, right? So obviously, as you progress through the game, you'll get better gear. You get better gear, your character gets stronger. You can, dunk on people easier, right? So on and so forth. We're all pretty familiar with the loop of the game at this point, right? So let's talk about a little bit of level locked gear. It is worth noting that while you earn new tier gear as soon as you reach the tier threshold and raise your battle rating tier, most gear pieces are locked to a particular character level. That means you must invest Catalyst and ISO into that character before you're able to equip the gear. As an example, Defender tier uncommons require level 22 to be equipped, which means you must take the character to rank 3 before you can equip the gear piece. All characters start at rank 1, level 1, raising them to the maximum of that rank, usually multiples of 10, by leveling them with ISO 9, then means you need Catalyst to move them further beyond and rank them up. Once you have acquired the necessary Catalyst, you can then rank up the character, and they will need more ISO 9 to level up before you can rank them up again. Depending on how many Catalysts you need, ranking up and leveling can take a while, so you should keep this in mind when deciding what to do with your rank up resources. So, what's next for here? Gear infographic. So right now, we have the rarity. This can be shown by both the stars and the color of the gear. So number 1, 2, tier, shows the tier of the gear. So it's the defender gear. 3, power level, estimated strength of the gear piece. So it's 555. Maximum power level, which is the max. We'll talk about that too. Obviously, you gotta, at the bottom there, you can do gear level and you do upgrades. So you're sinking more resources into your gear. Synergy will be shown with a special icon. So that's the angry FU. And then the synergy requirements. 1 out of 3 means 2 other pieces of the same set need to be equipped to gain this bonus. And then you have your stat rolls right here. So this one has health, crushing resist, more health, and crushing power versus stun foes. So let's look at the right side of this, which you guys should be able to see. I'll zoom in once more. Boom. You guys can't see that. So on the right side, it says guaranteed stats. Gear starts with health, weapons. Gear starts with health, weapons with power. Okay. So your top stat is always going to be, there, right? It's a guaranteed stat. So you're always going to get a health. Number 8, which are these ones here, your next 3 are randomly generated. They're random rolls. Anyone who's played like a Destiny or any other MMO is very familiar with random rolls, right? So what does this mean? So this means that you get a gear piece, and you and your friend could literally get the same gear piece. But the problem is that while you guys may have health, and I don't even know if the 117 is that the baseline stat, or can that be random, right? But your number 8s, which is your crushing resist, health, and your crushing power versus stun foes, those are all going to be random. So not only are these going to be random what you get, the numbers are going to be random. So you guys can really start to see now that there is a bit of a grind to get the gear pieces you need. And if you don't get the gear pieces you need, your character isn't going to perform optimally. But in a game with a little bit of grind, let's really keep this on the back burner and let's really see what else we got. All right, so how tier and rating affect gear. The quality of the gear is both dependent on its battle rating tier, which is usually tied to the character the gear is for, and its rarity, which is based on RNG. Tier directly affects the minimum and maximum rolls for most of its stats, as well as how many upgrade levels it has, and therefore more potential improvement to the stats. Gotcha. See, we're learning as we go. Rarity, on the other hand, will determine what kind of cosmetic it has. Some cosmetic sets will only appear on epic gear, for example, as well as how many stats it has and whether it has a synergy or not. See basics of synergy for more on this. Certain rarities also have an exclusive stats that only appear if the gear is high enough. The stats you can find of a piece of gear are determined as follows. Common gear will always have health and 1 random stat. Uncommon non-weapons will always have health and either 2 random stats or 1 random stat and a synergy. Uncommon weapons will always have power and 2 random stats. Rare non-weapons will always have health, 2 random stats, and 1 synergy. Rare weapons will always have power, 3 random stats, and no synergy. Epic non-weapons will always have health, 3 random stats, and 1 synergy. Epic weapons will always have power, 3 random stats, and no synergy. Sometimes you may notice gear has less stats than what is stated above. This is almost always because one stat was generated twice and then combined into one, which shows it as a much higher potency than what is normally possible. Okay, so where are we at right now? Well, we've now determined that gear drops at different places in the game, right? Or, when you're on your journey through climbing the ladder, essentially. Each gear can potentially give you different stats, right? So we've determined that there are different rolls that happen. And we've also determined that within these stats, the number of rolls that you get could be different too as well. So where does that leave us now when we talk about an inventory offer? Well, here's the problem with this. So whenever we talk about, mobile gaming in general, let's one sec. Boom. Whenever we talk about mobile gaming in general, we always understand that there's a little bit of a devil on the shoulder kind of situation with mobile gaming, right? Anyone who plays a mobile game really understands that it is a game, but the whole purpose of the game is the monetization scheme that really is to incentivize players to really pay money into the game, right? So in Realm of Champions, obviously, if you don't progress through certain tiers, you're not really going to get the next highest, piece of gear, right? Which is, if you're not in Warrior, you're not getting Defender level gear, right? You're staying with your Warrior level gear, right? But within that Warrior level gear, you can obviously get higher rolled items, right? Now, can you get them through just playing the game? Yeah, of course you can. Now, can you also get them through, paying money to get them? Yeah, well, of course you can, right? And when you start looking at, all these different kind of synergies and all these gear rolls and everything to do with that, the game opens up into a way that really wants you to play your own way, right? Whether it's synergies or gear rolls, the option is up to you as the player to really figure out what you want in that scheme. The issue with this is by artificially limiting the amount of inventory that you can have, they want you to spend money to basically say, you're going to spend money to play our game. If you're a free to play player and you have a bunch of gear that you like, well, eventually you're going to come to a point where it's going to be like, either I spend money to keep the gear or I just lose it. And maybe I'm only playing, Hulk one way instead of two, right? Maybe this gear piece doesn't work with this set, but it's a really good gear piece that maybe something else down the line could work with. Well, at that point, you got to make a choice, right? So the problem with this kind of thing is that it's a really slippery slope. Now, there's nothing to say they won't add more gear pieces. They won't add more. The whole point of this is to continuously add on. And when you start looking at inventory as a way to monetize, you're really starting to reach into the pockets a little too deep for what I'm personally comfortable with. And that's why I'm kind of making the video today. I'm okay. When I came into this game, I heard that, like, at a certain point, you do need to spend a little bit of money at sometimes to really get the gear you want. Obviously, you look around YouTube, there are people spending money opening crates or crystals, and you know what? That's fair on them. I get it. It's good content in a way. People can see what you're getting. But at the same point, no one's gonna do content about, like, hey guys, I bought some inventory. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels so unnecessary at this point. I don't know what KABAM is thinking when it comes to kind of doing something like this. Like, where in their spreadsheets is this there that says if we start charging for inventory slots, this is beneficial? I maybe they've done the numbers. Maybe they see everyone hoarding gear and they've decided, hey, instead of people kind of hoarding gear or getting rid of gear or this and that, maybe we just start charging for inventory slots and they can keep them. I don't think it's a matter of server costs. I think it's just a matter of they're looking for ways to monetize the game even further. If Destiny 2 came out and did this, or any other game came out and did this, would we accept it as people who play these games? No, we wouldn't. But because it's a mobile game, is this something we're willing to accept? I'm not, personally. This is just kind of going too far in a sense. What's next? I try not to play games with energy systems, right? I don't want to be artificially capped out at like how much I can play your game. Is this similar? Is it? I mean, that's the question. We got to really start asking ourselves, like, where's the line in the sand? I haven't really seen too much. I've seen people be upset about this. I don't know if they've come out and made a statement on this. I haven't really scrolled through the Discord yet. But in terms of kind of everything that's going on with this is a pretty disgusting offer, and I hope this is something they really reconsider, because the implications of something like this stretch further than just an inventory system that they're trying to monetize. It never stops at this, and like I said, we always accept the devil on our shoulder when we play a mobile game. It's just a reality. I think everyone knows it. You play a mobile game, you understand that there's going to be a little bit of monetization, or sometimes a lot of monetization. Look at some of their other games, or you look at any other mobile game, right? Money is king at some of these, and then but this is next level, man. This is next level. So yeah, I mean, we'll have to see where this goes, guys. Obviously, I want to give my thoughts out here. This video was not totally clean and clear, and it wasn't totally everything I wanted to do with an itemization and monetization kind of video. But I really wanted to come out and really talk about this because there's only so much people can take. You know what I mean? When you have a game that in some ways incentivizes you paying for gear, you know, what's next? Oh, inventory? Yeah, sure. Why not? Like, why do you just like monetize how much I play your game at this point? You know, it's really shitty. It's really shitty. But that's really all I got today, guys. Sorry this video is kind of long-winded. Hopefully you understand that, like, with all the variations of gear, there's so much that can happen with gear that, by locking people out of their inventory, you're really locking out of different play styles, and you're really locking them out of the game that they're really trying to play. And that's really the point I was trying to make while going through the gear, right? Different tiers of gear, different rarities of gear, different rolls, different stat rolls, different stats that can roll. All these affect how much gear you want to use. It affects your playstyle. And by monetizing that inventory system, you're really taking away the choice of the player, and you're really locking them into, maybe one or two choices, and you're just saying, that's it, guys. But hopefully this is something they work on, something they change. I would hope the community feedback, which what I have seen has been in line with what I'm saying. Hopefully this is something they kind of say, okay, guys, you're right. We're going to not do this. And here's inventory slots for free, whatever. Because you have to imagine more gear is coming for these characters, right? You have to imagine every character is 3 synergy sets. You got to imagine like more are coming. And if more are coming, we're in fucking trouble. We're in trouble. But that's it, guys. If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, do whatever you got to do. I will see you guys next time. Take it easy. Thank you. Peace out. Later.